everybody, welcome back to the Underground Lair. We're here with a Yamaha classical guitar. It's a CG122MS, and we're using strange tuning. We are tuning at 428 hertz, C, B flat, E. Of course, I will not be able to play anything in that tuning because I don't know anything about that. But we do have to take the strings off of this. I've got my snark set to that 428 hertz. I am very, very, very close to getting my rolling over my next 100 subscribers. So if you could hit the like, subscribe, and hit the little bell, I would appreciate it. Anyhow, let's get into this. I got to get the strings off of here, so just to see where we are. Our relief, if I go to the last fret, I'm going to say it's probably at least 20 thou. Oh, no, it's less than that. It's actually not that bad for a classical. 14. Yeah, it's about 14. I don't think I really got to do much to it. The action is high, but there's nothing that can be done to the nut to make it any lower. It's already been shaved, evidently, and there's almost no break angle to the high E string. So let me get the strings off of here, and we'll show you how to string. This is not strung properly, but I mean, it works, this configuration like that. That configuration works, but there's a neater way to do it, and also up there's a neater way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the strings off of here and do some fret polishing and oil this super dry fingerboard. Alright, let's see if there's a truss rod in here for access. Nope, no truss rod. So we're just going to have to roll with what we know. So I'm going to clean this up. I am going to put some guitar grease on the Z gears. Give you an idea of what I'm doing here. Just a slathering of this stuff in the gear, in the worm gear. To make your tuning a little easier. Flip it around. Stand up there. Okay, and this stuff will stay in place, unlike your sewing machine oils or other things. So we're just going to run it through. Back the other way. Now you see how dry this fingerboard is here, and it's pretty gunked up with stuff we don't want on there. So we're going to hit it with some simple green, since this is a polyurethane finish on the Yamaha. You don't have to worry about the finish. And we'll get our giant toothbrush here. I don't use it for a toothbrush anymore. It's kind of nasty. Now, look at that. That is some smooth frets. I thought I was recording. Let's go back down here. With the string, it's going to go over the bridge, under the tie block, over, wrap it around again, and it gets tucked down behind the tie block. Okay? Now we're going to do the headstock. And you see I've already done the E string, and it wraps towards the inside. The A and D string are going to wrap towards the outside. So we're going to get our winder here. Just going to wrap towards the other side of the knot. And then we're going to take another, just to make for tuning stability, another knot. And we're going to continue to wrap towards the outside. You're going to keep on nudging it that way so it's wrapping the direction you want it to wrap. And the second knot is securing itself there. And there we have it. Bring this up here, and now I can show you again while it's actually recording. D'Addario has a something that nobody else does. There's a stiff end and then there's a flimsy end. It's not as apparent in the so about this far up it's pretty stiff, and then it gets flimsy right in here, so it's easier to do your tying. And what we want to do is go over the nut, or over the saddle, through the tie block to that loosey-goosey area, and then we're going to come over. We're going to come under and over, and we're going to make 2 wraps. And that's going to send the end to the point where it's not only locking itself down, but it's locking the previous string. You're going to put the previous string through that knot as well. And you pull it down, and see, now I've got this string and this string anchored by the knot. We're going to go back up here, pull the end off, and the hole for the string is facing the nut. We want to go in, and we're going to feed it back up. want to give it about yay much room. We're going to wrap it on the inside and make a loop. That pulls us tight. And we're going to go ahead and get one wrap on that post. And we want it to go towards the outside of the post. Just like so. The other end of the string is going to come through. Come on through. There it is. Okay. And we're going to make another loop right there. Come on. Make that loop. There we go. Alright. And we're going to continue to wrap. Stay tight. We want to guide the string towards the outside. Oftentimes you got to get your finger in there to help it so it doesn't cross over. So we have our 3 strings held under here, like so. Can you see that? So they're kind of locking underneath that block. So what I want to do is I want to get these strings out of the way for the next string. So that one's locked down. We can cut that. We can cut that one. And this very end of this one. So that way all of your next 3 holes are open. Okay, so we're back down to the B. I forgot to hit the record on the G, but basically the same thing with this one. It goes in, it goes around the outside, and under, and under. So that your string is actually, we're going to actually leave that a little loose. Now we get our E string, and you'll see how this ends up being a nice little tidy end of the bridge. This gives you a nice, where everything's kind of wrapped up. Now this one is going to go like we did with the E and the D and G, where it's going to wrap around the outside. Give yourself enough room to make a couple knots around. Come on, these are hard to deal with. There's nothing to hold on to. They're slippery. Okay, so when we pull this tight, you see this tail is going to want to push this way. And we want to make sure we have enough tail. And we're going to shove this under. B string and tighten up the B string and the E string, and they're locked down. They're locking themselves. So we'll lay the E off to its side. Once again, the tuning pegs are facing the nut, so we're going to go in, push it up and over, we're going to go in. These are stiff and slippery. Okay, so we want these to go, we're going to wrap to the outside or not, giving us enough string. Pick this up. Anchor and guide it. So it's going right to the outside. You keep on pulling these so they line up. Okay, now with this one locked, we're going to do this, repeat the same thing. This one here we're going to wrap towards the inside, just like we did with the E on the outside. Okay, we are all strung up. Okay, you can see the ends, they're all being held in place by each other. These two wrap to the outside, this one wraps to the inside. Alright, boys and girls, we've got this thing tuned up to just a hair sharp, because there's a bunch of stretching that goes into nylon string guitars, but everything's done. The you saw how we did the bridge and how we locked in the strings, and then I am going to cut the long ends of some of these strings off. But you see the E, both E's wrap towards the inside of the post, and all the other strings wrap towards the outside of the post. And we got our frets polished, our fingerboard cleaned, oiled, and we're just going to let it sit. And Buddy has a Stratocaster that we're going to be changing the electronics on, and we'll start on that next. So we're going to wrap this video. If you're in the Pittsburgh area and you would like to have your guitar brought up to par, send us an instant message on the Facebook. My number is also on the Facebook if you need your guitar brought up to par. Oh, I also put, and I usually use this on just like Stratocasters, anything that has a non-locking trim system. But also found out that Big Ben's nut sauce works great in the nut of classical guitars, so that's what we use for lubricant there. So yeah, take care of the old folks because they're special. Love your neighbor like you love yourself, and most of all, you have yourself a great night. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the Stratocaster video.